Hey guys, and Happy New Year. This has kind of been my first opportunity to really say Happy Holidays and Happy New Year. Welcome to 2017. I hope the past week or so has been really good for you. I hope the transition into the new year has been really good for you. And I hope you're excited for the new year. I know that I'm very excited for 2017. I have a lot of plans that I hope to accomplish reading-wise and bookish-wise. And I'm going to talk about those things a little bit more in the very near future. I'm a little bit late to the party when it comes to posting like my goals for the year and stuff like that. I did post a video about the series that I want to read this year, but I do have some more videos in that regard to post very soon. So I wanted to do real quick a weekly wrap up and a currently reading video, except for this is kind of the past few weeks. I have not done a weekly wrap up for a few weeks, so I'm going to be talking about several books. I'm not going to talk too long about some of them because I am going to be doing full reviews of a couple of them, and just because I don't want this to be way too long. But I did listen to several audiobooks in the past few weeks. That's most of what I've been getting into. It's most of my reading in the past few weeks. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about is Dawn of Wonder by Jonathan Renshaw. This is an audiobook that I actually did talk about a little bit in my last weekly wrap-up. I had gotten about halfway through it. It was like a 30-hour audiobook, so it took a few days to actually listen to, and I really ended up liking it a lot. I would give it like a 4.5 stars on Goodreads or so, and I'm going to be doing a full review on it. I did, like I said, talk about it in the last weekly wrap-up, but I will mention a little bit about it here. It's about this kid who grows up in this small town kind of thing, this small village kind of thing, and he is very much adept at forestry. His father is a forester and taught him everything that he knows, and he's very good at finding his way around in the woods around his house. He has a lot of friends, and he kind of leads them on adventures around where they live. And one day some slavers come and take away someone that he cares very deeply about, and he kind of is set off on this adventure. His family leaves him and his mother and his kind of abusive father, very abusive father, leave this town and go off in search of a new place to live. And this kid's story just kind of goes off from there. He ends up at this like academy for the marshals, who are even more elite than like the military. They have a more rigorous training program, and he learns a lot of stuff. And he's a very great tactical thinker in general. He's got a lot of little flaws. Like, he's very young. He's about 12, I think, when the book starts. He's very young, and he's got his flaws, but you get to see his growth throughout the story. If it's a very kind of, it's not necessarily the fastest paced story ever. You do get to see a lot of detail in regards to his everyday life and everything like that. It kind of goes through everything. It does skip over some things sometimes, but we do get to see most of what happens, and so the book does end up being kind of lengthy, except for I liked that a lot about this one specifically. Sometimes I don't like that, but this one I just had a lot of fun learning about this world and about the places that he went to and things that he did. There's no direct plot necessarily. It does end up being a kind of ending conflict, a kind of ending climax at the end that we get built up to, but that doesn't really appear until the later half of the book. And it does kind of meander sometimes, but I very much like that about it, actually, and had a lot of fun listening to it. It was narrated by Tim Gerard Reynolds. He's my favorite narrator. I've mentioned him many times before, and he's really awesome. And I like this quite a bit. It was originally self-published and then picked up by Podium Publishing for audiobook, and I'm really looking forward to doing a full review on it, so please look out for that full review, because I have a lot more to say about it, and I'll get to be a lot more in-depth in that review as well. And then I also finished Thrice the Brinded Cat Hath Mewed by Alan Bradley. This is the 8th Flavia de Luce book, and I've listened to all of these. I listened to the first 7 of them like back to back in 2015 and loved them. And I mean, they're not the best things in the world. I mean, they're all pretty straightforward. They have very similar plots, every single one of them. This girl, Flavia de Luce, she's a young girl. She's like 12 or something like that, and she loves chemistry, she loves poisons, and she loves murder mysteries, and she eventually ends up finding herself involved in one in every single book, regardless of the situation that she's currently in. And in this one, it deals a lot with her coming back home from this sort of trip that she went on in the last book, and her dealings with her family, coming home and being home. And it was very good. I liked it a lot, and I love Flavia. And despite the fact that they're all basically the same story over and over again, you get to see the progression of her and her family. It's really what it's mostly about, is her and her family dynamic, and she's just a great character to read about. And then I also finished this Still Life by Louise Penny. This is the first Chief Inspector Gamache novel, and there's about 12 of these out right now, and I own 6 of them, and I think I want to also try to read the series this year. I didn't mention it in my series to read video that I want to read the rest of the series too, but I do kind of want to read the rest of the series. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to or not all of it at least. I probably will definitely read at least the next couple books in the series because I really like this one. It was a very compelling little mystery story about this small town. This woman who has lived in this town for a very long time, and everyone there knows her. Everyone there knows each other. They all love each other, and this woman eventually ends up being found murdered. She has always been an artist or a painter, but she's never ever shown anyone her paintings before, and she had just decided to finally show her work to someone and to enter an art show, which everyone was shocked about. No one had ever been allowed to see her work before. She never let anyone see her work before, but all these people in this town love her. And it's this story about trying to figure out who in this town could have possibly killed her, because everyone seemed to have really liked her a lot. Chief Inspector Gamache, the main character, I guess, we actually get to see a lot of the town in this, which is really cool. You don't really see that in thrillers all that much, or mystery novels all that much about a detective. You mostly just follow the detective, like through the detective's eyes in their mouthpiece, sort of. But this one, you really get to see a lot of the inner workings of the town, the townspeople themselves, and they're really interesting, and I really enjoyed reading about them, and I'm glad that was included in this, that we got to see a lot of them, and I think they come into play more later on in the series, or all throughout the series. I'm not entirely sure. I've heard this also be called the Three Pines series, and Three Pines is the town that it takes place in, but I'm not entirely sure how all the books could take place in this town, because I don't really feel like there's enough people in the town for there to be that many murder mysteries taking place in it, but I guess I'll see as I go along with the series. But Inspector Gamache is a great character. I really liked him a lot. He's like kind of older. He's a very respectable kind of person, and I really enjoyed reading about him. He kind of had this trainee that he's taking on into the field for the first time, and she's competent, but she's also very hot-headed and thinks she knows everything, and she's actually kind of very, very annoying a lot of the time. I couldn't stand hearing from her perspective a lot of the time because she's kind of ridiculous, but hopefully she gets better in the later books, if she is in the later books. But I did enjoy their dynamic. I enjoyed seeing how he dealt with her and how he dealt with everything. He's, like I said, a very respectable character, and I liked him quite a bit. And I'm going to keep reading this series, hopefully get to at least a few of them this year. And then I also finished this. This is Shape of Water by Andrea Camilleri. This is an Italian detective inspector kind of novel, mystery thriller kind of thing. And it surrounds a politician who dies in a kind of questionable manner, in that he's found kind of with his pants down when he was murdered, or he's possibly murdered. He was found... he might have had a stroke and died, but the main character of this thinks he might have been murdered, or something might be up with his death that is not quite noticeable at first glance. But everyone that knew the politician, everyone that knows him, everyone that is involved in this just wants the main character, Inspector Montalbano, to just get over it and move on from it and release the case so everyone can move on. But Inspector Montalbano does not want to do that. He thinks there's something else going on, and he kind of investigates that. This is a kind of difficult book to get into. I didn't like it quite as much as I hoped I would. It's kind of got a disconnect because it's very short and snappy and quick, and in some ways that's really interesting. I think the more I read these, I have a couple more of these, and I think I might try to get to those this year as well. I'm not sure, but they're also very short, like this one, and I'm assuming they're going to be just as quick and snappy. But it's hard to connect to the main character because of that. A lot of the time, there's these like quick successions of, there's one section here, this quick succession of phone calls. He just makes a bunch of phone calls to people right in a row without necessarily telling us who he's talking to, not necessarily telling us anything about what he's thinking. We just kind of see his conversations one after the other with these people he's contacting, and it's kind of hard to get into. And I'm hoping the more I get into the series as a whole, the more I'll like them, because I can see myself liking the main character. I just didn't get to know him very well, I feel like. But as long as I keep reading the series, I feel like I'll get to know him better and maybe come to like him a little bit more, maybe come to like the books themselves a little bit more. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe they'll build up on one another. after I get through a few of them. But anyway, so I finished that. And I also finished Partials by Dan Wells. This is the first book in the Partials sequence. And I'm definitely going to be listening to the other 2 books in this as soon as I can. I have them on overdrive already, so I'm just going to be probably listening to them back to back. The other 2, Fragments and Ruins. This one is about women in this world are required to get pregnant at a certain age. There's this thing called the Hope Act has been enacted, where and at the very beginning of the book, the age has been lowered to 18. So if you're 18, you're morally obligated to get pregnant in some way, and all the babies die, every single one of them, and they don't know what's happening or why. There was this thing called these things called the partials that it's hinted at that the humans created. They don't entirely go into detail in this one about why they were created or what exactly happened, but there was the Partials War. The Partials basically wiped out most of humanity, and now something has affected humans in that they cannot have any more children, or all the children, when they have them, they die, and they're trying to figure out why. And it's really interesting. I actually like this a lot more than I thought I might. I've heard people call it young adult and dystopian. I would call it way more like post-apocalyptic and science fiction, and I definitely can see the young adult bits in it. Does have sort of a love triangle-y thing kind of going on. It's not fully fleshed out, which I actually liked a lot. The love triangle-ish aspects of it that sort of come into play aren't exactly followed through. It's a little bit more interesting than that, and I actually thought it was well done. And I liked the characters. I liked the main character quite a bit, actually. She was this really great, headstrong, but not always, she was competent, but not always competent character that needed help, but also was very active and really knew what she was wanting to do. And I just really liked following her. We pretty much entirely read from her perspective, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading the rest of this. I did like Dan Wells' writing quite a bit, and I actually, right after I finished that, I did read this. This is his new book, Extreme Makeover, which I also really liked. I really liked the writing in this too. This was fun. I'm going to be doing a full review of this very, very shortly. You'll see a full review of this up sometime very soon. This is about a beauty company that releases this product that starts to turn people into other people. We follow the main chief scientist of this beauty company as he kind of discovers this thing. He wants to brand it as an anti-aging lotion, or the company wants to brand it as an anti-aging lotion. He originally developed it to be a burn cream to help people who have been burned very badly, but they start to try and use it as an anti-aging cream, and then it eventually comes to light that it affects people in a very different way than they expected it to. And it was kind of satirical. It was very fun. It was very fast-paced, and I quite enjoyed it. I kind of ate it up. It was a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to talk more about it, and I'll talk more about it as soon as I can. And I also finished Every Heart a Doorway by Sean McGuire. This is really good. I enjoy this quite a lot. It's a very short book, or novella, I guess. I read it. I listened to it on audiobook, and the audiobook was very good too. I'm looking forward to the sequel now, or I guess that's a prequel. I think it's coming out this year. And it's about these kids that originally were born in our world, but then got portaled to different worlds depending on who they are, and these different doorways that they found. They found all these different doorways, and eventually led to these different worlds. But now they've been kind of pushed back into our world for whatever reason, and now they're going to this, their parents, most of them, put them in this little school. It's a school/asylum. Their parents think it's like a mental asylum because their parents think they're now crazy because they are spewing all this stuff about different worlds, and all the different times that they left are like all wacky. They would have left for like several years, but they would have only been gone for a few days in our world, so they feel like they've been gone for a lot of years. They feel like they're a lot older than they actually are, and they come back and their parents think they're crazy, and they get sent to this school asylum kind of thing, and it's run by this lady who has also been affected by this, except for her doorway is always open, and all their doorways they're trying to find their doorways again, and they're just kind of struggling with adapting back into this world that we live in. I was about to say the real world, but it's very obvious that the real world is not this world for any of them. And it's a really good story. I very highly enjoy it. I very highly recommend it, and I'm really glad that I gave it a shot. And then I also finished, the last thing I finished was The Autumn Republic by Brian McClellan. This is the third Powder Mage book. This is the last one in the trilogy, and I really liked this a lot. This was a great ending. I feel like the entire series has its flaws here and there, and I feel like they got better as they went along, but they're all kind of missing something for me in some way. I'm not entirely sure how to exactly describe it, but I did enjoy them. I feel like the magic systems weren't quite explained the way that I would have liked them to. I feel like the characters are really, really good, but I felt like some of the situations that they were in weren't handled quite as well as they could have been. And I can't really talk about this one specifically all that much. I did talk about the other two in my last weekly wrap-up because I read them back-to-back, and then this one is the third one. I can't really talk that much about it other than it follows the same characters, and I really like all the characters now. I very much enjoyed reading more about them and seeing where their story ended up, and I just felt like this was great. It was a really good conclusion to the trilogy, and I'm really looking forward to his next series or trilogy. I'm not sure if it's a trilogy or a series, but there's another one coming out. It's called Gods of Blood and Powder, and that comes out this year. It's the first one called Sins of Empires coming out this year, and I'm really looking forward to that. I feel like he's just an author that's going to grow more and more the more he writes and the more books he puts out. I feel like he grew a lot when writing this trilogy, and you can see that in his writing, and I really liked the audiobook narration for this, and I'm really looking forward to reading more by him, and I really hope you'll check out the Powder Mage trilogy because it is quite a bit of fun. And then this upcoming week, I'm going to be reading Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castel. This is the first book in the Great Coats series, and I am not that far through it yet, but I'm hoping to finish it within the next couple of days, and I'll definitely talk more about this as soon as I can. Then after that, I'm going to be reading this. This is Last Year by Robert Charles Wilson. This actually came out December 6th, and I'm now getting around to it, unfortunately, but I'm going to be doing a full review of this one as well. It was sent to me by Tor, and I'm going to do a review for it. It's very Westworld-esque about this world in the past that people go to, and the people that are in this town that they go to know that these people are from the future, and they kind of have these really interesting interactions. That follows a main character who is from that time period, the past time period, and he falls in love with someone from the future, and it sounds fun, and I'm really looking forward to getting into it. And if I can finish those two, I think I'm going to try to get through those two as quickly as I can so I can start this one, because this one comes out January 10th, and I would like to do a review of this one around the time that it comes out, and that is Book Burners by Max Gladstone, Margaret Dunlap, Murd Lafferty, and Brian Francis Slattery. So this is a serial book that all of these different authors wrote different episodes in the serial. It was originally published on serialbox.com as episodes, and now this is a omnibus of all of them put together. And I'm really looking forward to getting into this. This is about magical books evil magical books that this team of book burners have to go out and destroy, I guess. And I'm really looking forward to this. I think it sounds like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the different writers writing different episodes sort of aspect about it. And I'm definitely going to be doing a full review of that as soon as I'm done with it. And then also this week, I would like to listen to Nine Fox Gambit by Yoon Ha Lee. And the second book in this series comes out later this year, and I really want to give this series a shot. I've heard many good things about it recently, and it's science fiction. I don't know much more about it other than that it's science fiction, and I'm hoping to really like it. And then I'm also going to listen to Sephrael's Hand by Melissa McPhail. This is the first in the A Shadow of Pattern and Light trilogy. This was originally self-published and then picked up by Podium Publishing, and I'm going to probably do a full review of this one as well. So you'll hear me talk about that more as soon as I'm done with it. And then if I can finish that one, if I can finish those two, Sephrael's Hand is like a 30-hour audiobook or something like that. So if I can finish that one, I'm not sure if I will be able to, especially because this week at work is only a 4-day week for me at work. And that's usually when I listen to audiobooks. If I do finish that one, I will start A Warrior's Path by Davis Ashura. This is part of a trilogy called Casts and Outcasts. And I'll probably do a full review of that one as well, and you'll hear me talk about it in depth when I'm done with it. So I think that's pretty much it. I do have several videos coming out this week, including a review, finally, for Death's End by Sixin Liu. It's about time. It's already done. I just need to actually edit it and post it. And I'm going to be doing also a review of Dawn of Wonder, like I said. and Extreme Makeover, the 2 books that I just talked about. And so those 3 reviews will be up sometime in the next week or so, hopefully. And then I'm also have a 2016 statistics video and a 2017 goals video. I'm a little bit fashionably late to posting those kinds of things. A lot of people have posted them already, but better late than never, I suppose. And I also have an anticipated releases and a favorites of 2016. A couple of those, I want to do my favorites in science fiction and fantasy and my favorite audiobooks that I listen to. So I'm going to have those 2 videos out as well, plus anticipated releases. So all this stuff is a little bit belated. I feel like a lot of people have done these already, but I hope that's all right. I'm excited to post them all, and a lot of them are already filmed. Actually, I just need to edit them and post them. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have anything to say about anything that I showed you today, I would love to hear your opinions. If you've read anything that I've talked about, I would love to hear what your impressions of them were. And if you've read any of the ones that I have already finished and have differing opinions, I would love to hear about those as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you later with more.